Chris is always trying to get us to watch anime. Somehow you're always like slipping it in somehow.
Well, listen, I'm with them on this one. Whoa, I'm not with them on that one.
Whoa, I don't know what he's slipping where.
I'm not with them on that one. I'm with them on the anime you should watch.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Hero Speak podcast. I am your host, Chris, here to talk with you about culture, about entertainment, about whatever the hell we feel like. I'm here with my friends, my co-hosts, as always. We're going to start with James. How are you doing today, James?
Doing well. One thing I learned today, some dogs do not go to heaven. They go straight to hell.
Oh, my God.
Straight to hell.
Holy shit. What kind of dogs you hanging out with?
Dalmatians.
Oh, Dalmatians. There you go. Perfect. With us today, Brooksy. How are you doing, Brooksy?
Doing great.
Is it 1,000 degrees there?
Literally 72 degrees.
She's got a black hoodie on, dude. How's it 1,000 degrees?
Oh my gosh. That's a nice hoodie you got there.
By the way, merch is available.
That's right.
Merch is available. So is sponsorship.
We never named the GOAT. Maybe one of these days we should name the GOAT. And no, it's not LeBron. And of course, last but not least, it's Keith. How you doing?
I'm the GOAT.
Okay, so Keith, that's the name of the GOAT.
We're not sponsored by Champion Athletic Wear.
Okay.
But we are open to it if you want to sponsor us.
Thank you.
We're open. We're open, Perrier.
Disney. We're all about Disney.
Don't do it.
Don't
do it.
Hold it. All right. So anyway, Mike's also here, but he's indisposed at the moment. So we're going to go through our little news section, and then we will all get together and we will talk about Wrath of Man, the recent release. I don't even know where it released from. And
I think it was in theaters only.
Oh, theaters. That's right. You think I would know that? And the 101 Dalmatians prequel, Cruella.
Cruella begins.
So we'll be talking about those after. We're going to do a little news segment. So the news, we do say we talk about culture here, and we do on occasion. And I don't really feel like getting too much into politics right now, but I just want to say a hearty fuck you to Joe Manchin right now.
Yeah. If anyone deserves it. Yo, like, what does it take to change parties? Like, why don't you just become a Republican, Joe Manchin? Like, what are you fighting? Like, what is he fighting?
Well, that's the strange thing is he sponsored a bill last year, or 2019 bill, that he's not voting for this year.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand what his whole purpose is. Like, are you the anti-Democrat? Like, I don't really get his whole deal. Like,
I think it's a political game that he's playing to be the outlier of the Democratic Party.
I totally get it, but his political game, the game that he's playing, it only rests. I mean, it's only working. It can only work if the Democrats retain power, number one, and like it only works because the Democrats have a slim majority of power. Like what he's doing right now is he has like maybe months left on his movement,
and he's not even voting.
What are you going to do when this backfires and Republicans get back power? Like, you think they're going to be nice to you, Joe Manchin?
He's
like,
not He's not even holding the line for his constituents because if you look at any of the polling, they want the things he's not voting for.
I don't understand what is. I think some Republicans have some like pictures of him touching.
Well, him and Mitch McConnell have this. They're praying to the ghost of bipartisanship that doesn't exist.
That is all BS.
Yeah, it is
all BS. Somebody got something on somebody. Like, that's BS.
Man, bipartisan died in the late 90s, man. With Tip O'Neill, Clinton. That shit is Not real.
Manchin yelling bipartisanship and Republicans pissing all over that. I don't.
Well, it's funny because they'll go out and they'll say it,
at.
and then they'll immediately, literally go to the mic and say, "Hey, we're not going to work with anybody." And then Joe Manchin will go to the mic and go, "I won't vote for this unless I can get a Why? Do you not?
They just told you they're not going to work with you. And actually, what's worse that they do is that they actually they actually get in discussion and negotiate and waste time actually getting the things that they want in a bill only to not vote for it.
Yeah.
There's a good the Obama book that I still haven't finished reading since Christmas. There's a good section of that where Obama talks about
how the
whole congressional, how it works. Both sides. He didn't name a few, but he said some Democrats purposely say, "Hey, listen, I want you to push this bill, but I'm in a midterm election. I can't honestly go and vote for it unless you can guarantee a certain majority. If you can't guarantee a certain majority, I have to abstain." And I'm like, wow, so people don't vote where they believe it anymore. They vote depending on the political wind.
All right. Well, last political thing is the CDC. Since the CDC's announcement, a lot of mask mandates have literally gone to the wind. And so good luck to everybody out there, because we still haven't reached our vaccination goals. I'm part of that. I'm a few weeks away from my second dose, but we're on our way. But basically, everything has just fallen apart since the CDC tried to push the vaccination as hey, you don't have to wear your mask anymore. And then one by one, all the states basically fell into no more masks most of the time.
I mean, that's partially a political thing, to be honest with you, because it started with the previous administration, and then the current administration was like, this is not really our Biden on record will say this is our goal, but then in reality, he knows that he's got bigger fish to deal with, so he's not really focusing on trying to get those numbers up. He's letting the states do themselves directly, like certain governors and local.
I mean, what can he do?
He can't. He's not focusing on that.
Like all he can do is provide the vaccine, which he did. With their surpluses,
we have surpluses that we give to other countries.
So he can't do anything more than that. Like the idea, I feel like the average American, the idea that we ask out certain politicians and this, that, and the other, like we see problems and we just assume they could fix all of the problems. Like all he can do is provide the materials.
Yeah, but that's a universal thing, Keith. All parties. There's a lot of people, a lot of constituents, regardless of what party they are. They're waiting for their government, their federal government, to tell them.
To tell them what he's been telling them for the longest time.
It's not
that's
that.
What I'm saying. Like, what else is he supposed to tell you? I'm telling you here. Like, I have given you the vaccine. You have it. You can take it at will. Please take the vaccine. What more can I say? They're even doing stupid stuff like I'm giving you guns and dumb stuff for taking your vaccine. What more?
Shots, yeah.
You're getting free baseball tickets. You're getting free basketball tickets. What can you do? Americans are dumb.
Yes.
And they're even giving out weed in California.
Everything. They're giving like cats are literally having to bribe people to do their own healthy. Americans are dumb. Like this is we're finished. This is dumb. You can't even blame, like we look for every little thing to blame politicians when the average American is just dumb.
It's funny. We talk about one of those what ended the empire kind of stuff when people talk about America and they like link us to Rome or whatever. And I wonder if the Roman people were this idiotic and that's really what happened to.
They probably were.
Probably at the time of their collapse.
Going back to the point I was trying to make is there's people, regardless of what political affiliations are, they look to the government to give them like a sound reason why they should do X, Y, and Z, even against their best common sense. They'll look to their governor, they'll look to their mayor, they'll look to like the whoever's in presidential power, and not listen to the scientists, not listen to family members. Churches are pushing the vaccine. They're still not listening to churches, quote unquote, the religious left and religious right. And the thing is baffling to me, and I get you, Keith. You're like, what more can Biden do? Biden came out his first 100 days, he was pushing the vaccine. That was his main agenda. By July 4th, we're going to be vaccinated. We're going to be open. Everything's and then he had other shit on his agenda. He had to focus on, the oil crisis, ransomware, and this, that, and the third.
You
so
say
the message,
focus on. You
say
say
focus on other things that are just
no.
as
That's
important.
what I'm saying. Like to me, like yeah, like it, like outside of going to every American and pulling their arm and forcing them to take a shot, I don't. What else? There is no more that he can focus on this. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there is no more focus you can do by telling people. Like I've given you the materials. There are vaccines in everywhere, like, within a mile of your crib in any town in America. They're all out there. I've done that. That was my job. I've done it. I'm telling you they're out there. I'm telling you to take it. I got all these celebrities and people in your community telling you it's safe. I've got baseball team owners giving free season tickets to vaccine holders. You're getting money for vaccines in some cities. You're getting weed for vaccines. You're getting free drinks for vaccines. What can he do? There's no more focus you can do.
Yeah, I don't have an answer.
There's nothing more to focus on.
What you can't fight is the propaganda. What you can't have no power against.
Who are the ones who are the holdup now? It's not even the black people that they thought it was going to be. It's not even the black people that they thought it was going to be.
It's not just the right.
The same ones who still feel that the election was stolen.
Hold on. It ain't just the right. It's also the left. There's people on the left that are still not.
Oh, those anti-vaxxers, they're going to be like, we deal with them.
Yeah,
like,
we've had the left side anti-vaxxers, yeah.
They was there before. I'm talking about the people who were born of this crisis.
Mm-hmm. And it's not even the like rich Republicans. They're all getting that shit on their
yeah. Oh yeah.
Poor dumb.
Like Trump and Melania did it and didn't even say nothing.
Yeah, but even like the Ted Cruzes of the world are going on radios and telling people that it's got 5G antennas in your blood now.
It should be your right to take it or not. So no one should have to force you to take the vaccine.
And then they're going to get the vaccine the next day. Like
Dude, honestly, I don't know what the answer is.
Can I tell you how
I don't know what the answer is.
Like there are reports now of shop owners, of people like beauticians and stuff like that who are anti-vaxxers and are not taking appointments with vaccinated people. Oh wow! For health concerns, for health reasons.
So I'm gonna hope that Mike listens back to this because I want him to play the video of the woman who went before her town council and was telling them that people were being magnetized, that their blood was getting metals in it.
This trash.
And they could put. She saw people on the internet putting keys and spoons on their forehead and it's sticking because the vaccine magnetized them or something like that.
Americans are morons.
So, all right. So that was some fun. To get back. Chris. You're welcome. I know that gets us a little animated. The last big thing is the NBA playoffs. Where are the NBA playoffs right now?
Well, they're all vaccinated. Let's start with that.
They're all vaccinated. And there's no
all the rich people are vaccinated and the poor people talking about conspiracies.
That's right.
Actually, shout out to the NBA because they came out with the rapid tests, and you got to the point where it became so the efficiency, the efficacy of that test was what helped pass out some of the PCRs we were getting last year. The NBA was one of the pioneers of that stuff. So shout out to the NBA for that.
All right.
Yo, NBA been leading a lot. They're not perfect, but like I feel like they're the best sports league, yo.
They are.
I would agree.
They are. But in memoriam, the Lakers and the Knicks, I have to say, now that they win the second round.
You don't have to say nothing about the Knicks. The Knicks you can say nothing about them.
Play some taps. Right here, Mike should play some taps.
However, the Lakers, last season's champions, to go out in the first round. How do you feel about that, Brooks?
We have 17.
Oh, we're gonna rest on the laurels of our
She's pulling the history. She pulls out the history book.
Excellent. Let's go ahead and let's take it to Brooks. I reported on the street. So how do you feel about that, Brooks?
How
does your 17 wins feel when you go out in the first round with LeBron playing?
I mean, listen, we had the longest season last year, right? The longest season the shortest recovery
So
time.
did Miami Heat.
I was about to
And
say
they're
so.
out too.
And they were out too. Wow. So you guys are both tired? You guys are both tired from doing so much winning so early?
Denver had the shortest, had right below you guys, Denver. And they're still kicking ass.
Wait, but Denver also didn't have their, like, Denver only had, Murray is down. Like, so Denver's just doing it with Joker.
Who is the MVP?
Yeah, MVP. The guy who was second round pick coming into the NBA.
31st pick to be exact.
41st pick. By the way,
that's just to tell you, NBA scouts don't know nothing.
The good thing is the Staples Center is still active because the Clippers their season's still around. So
you still can't catch a game in LA, I hear.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Lakers hats being switched to Clippers hats.
Nobody.
Wait.
But they play in your building.
For a second.
They're the ones keeping the lights on in your building right now.
Which team is are you rooting for this year, James? Like, I don't know. I'm not I gotta keep up.
That is a solid question.
That's a solid
question.
Right now, I am rooting for
He's making a decision right now. He's checking the scores.
He's making a real-time Jinx decision right now, folks.
If
you're watching it live,
Jai's watching right now, or when this airs, I am rooting for the Brooklyn Nets. So timestamp this. So when this gets aired,
Brooks was kind of hoping.
I'm gonna text Jai right now.
Brooks was kind of hoping you were rooting for the Clippers, though.
Okay, honest question: Who do you guys feel is going to be the champion this year?
I'm gonna go Suns. I'm gonna go Suns.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Suns only because I can't have the Nets win.
You
can't go with the Brooklyn super team.
I'm going Brooklyn, dude. It's not the Zack Snyder Justice League. It's the cartoon Justice League.
I really hate what LeBron has done to this league, man. This whole super team nonsense, man. Like, I really wish we get back to the days when cats really wanted to compete against each other and not just with each other.
And you know the thing about this, and Brooks and I talked about this, the whole player empowerment movement, which we're all for, players getting. The side effect of player empowerment is players managing themselves and creating these super teams.
I think that ruins sport, though.
Yeah. But how often do the super teams actually win?
What are you talking about? Every year, it's a super team that wins.
Every year.
Like, you have to.
Draymond got Kevin Durant to go to the Golden State.
But they lost. Didn't they lose the year Durant went to Golden State?
No, they won one.
They won two with Durant.
Yeah. And then his spaghetti legs.
And then he got injured.
Yeah.
And then James became a.
And for them to even lose, to the Clippers, it took like monumental injuries to the two of their stars in the finals for them to squeak out the win.
Mike's team, Raptors. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm used to football super teams that always crash and burn every time someone thinks.
The NBA is different.
Off season, they can just pile on the talent.
You can't do that with the NFL.
Football is too violent. Like, you could lose anybody at any time in football. Like, NBA, you form a super team, like, you're pretty much golden.
It's not even that the players don't have the same type of empowerment that the NBAs do.
Well, it's funny because
right now, if Aaron Rodgers wanted to, he could be like, you know what? I'm going to the Giants, and I'm going to recruit the best offensive tackle I have, the best receiver I have. We're all going to the New York Giants, and we're going to win there. Boom. You can't do that.
You can't do that.
I really hate that. I like the player empowerment from the financial side and from the business side, like players can control their own destinies and like, I don't have to be on this team, or like I can control my financial. Beautiful. I definitely think but once the competitor starts controlling parts of the competition, I think it waters it down. I don't think you should be able to just, and I know some people argue against it, like, oh, it's all part of player empowerment. Like, they should be able to play where they want to, and this, that, and the, but I'm like, I feel like as a competitor in the midst of competition, for me to pick to play with, I'm changing the games of my the percentages of my play or whatever it is by being able to do that. I think that's unfair. I don't think that.
Keith, what I think it does is before you had the owners and you had the players, you had like that class system. But now within the players union, you have a whole other set of class systems where the best player, like let's say LeBron and the Banana Boat guys, they have their own group of guys that they can dictate the NBA. What happens if you're what's his name? Spider Mitchell from Utah, or Booker from Phoenix. You're not in that group of that classification, but you want to win and compete. So now you got to form your own little class system to combat those guys. And you're recreating the same problems you had before when it was just the owners.
It started because like LeBron needed to form a team to be able to beat the Celtics.
Yes.
Now the Celtics super team, you could say what you want or whatever, but like I feel like
that was organic.
You have the team as an organization. Like you have the players, they're on the court, they're organized by the front office, meaning that they're picked by the front office, this, that, and the other, and their job is to galvanize and to get together and win, whatever, play the games and win. Like let the front office make the super team. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like that's their job. I feel better about it like that way. Once you tell me the players are making the super teams, like I'm like, that ruins the competitive spirit of it. Like, I want to beat Jordan. I don't want to play with Jordan just to get chips. Like,
the big thing is, like, when the front office, the allegiance is to that organization, whereas the players, their allegiance is to themselves and their network of.
And that's what it should be, because the organization's allegiance is to the organization, not to the players. Not to the players.
How can you be a Lakers fan or a Knicks fan when you know the players that are playing for your team are not aligned with your team?
You're right. You're 100% right.
Hey, we root for jerseys. We don't root for people. We root for jerseys.
Really, Chicago Bears? Really, LA Lakers? Really, New York Knicks?
No, I understand what Brooks is saying, but and it's a mixed bag because, like, yes, you want the players to be as fully empowered as they can be.
Agreed.
But then, like, at the base line of it, like, why are we all here? We're all here watching them because of the competition. And now if the individual players can affect, they are the competitors. So if they can affect the competition, it's not fair. Like, it's like I'm watching impure competition as a sportsman, as a sports person I appreciate the battle. I appreciate sports. I appreciate the whole, like, oh, like we going up against Jordan tonight. Like we trying to beat Jordan. Like you know what I'm saying? Like like I'm waiting till the end of the season so I can see if we could get him to come over here and play with us. And I want to play with Jordan. Nah, like it ruins the whole competitive spirit of the thing. Like, the competitors should not be able to pick their competition. That's
all right. On that note, we are going to move away from our culture segment and we're going to move on to our entertainment segment. So in the next block, when we come back, we will be talking about Wrath of Not As Good Man. Be right back. All right, we're back, everybody, and we're here to talk about a new movie release, Wrath of Man, which is a Guy Ritchie joint starring Jason Statham. The plot follows H, a cold and mysterious character working at a cash truck company responsible for moving hundreds of millions of dollars around Los Angeles each week. And what the hell's he doing there? Dun, dun, dun.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
It's a action, sort of a thriller, sort of not much else movie. All week, me and James have been kind of going at it and our disagreement of this. So I'm actually going to give him first word on what he enjoyed about this movie. Was it the Jason Statham angle? Was it the Guy Ritchie stuff? Was it something else? Go ahead, James. What did you see? It's a goddamn
movie. Listen, I watched this movie after you did, and I think I might have read some of your comments, whatnot. And I went in for myself on a lazy Saturday afternoon.
So I dropped your expectations below the floor. That was good.
You did. Harken back to last week. Keith's comment about when your expectations are low, movie winds up being good. But I sat down there and I was watching it with Eric. And within the first 5 minutes, I was like, this is kind of boring, kind of tame. Like they gave you a little backstory. But then the movie takes a turn, which I was not expecting, where it gets into
spoilers.
Oh yeah, F this shit. Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers.
It gets into the point where Jason Statham's character now is, and you know it off the bat, he's pretending to be an everyman, right? Comes in, he wants to get a job, a paycheck.
Barely passes the test.
Barely passes the treadmill test. His marksmanship is off and all this stuff. And you're like, all right, I've seen the trailers. Like, obviously, there's something more to this. Mm-hmm. And then it takes you for the little conversation with Josh Hart. By the way, the actors in this movie, you've seen them from throughout a bunch of other movies. But the point I'm trying to make is this movie from the first act kind of sets the ground level, what I'm supposed to expect. The second and third act takes these twists with the plot where you'd expect a traditional bank heist and Jason Statham, like who's involved, and you don't really know why he's involved. And then you start realizing, oh, he's got a mission. And his mission is to uncover who's behind the assassination of his son. And then you realize, oh, there's more than that. He's not just a regular everyman that just happens to be, really well with a gun or whatever. He's a criminal kingpin of his own right. Mm-hmm. Who had pulled himself out of that environment to figure out how to track down the killers behind his son's death. And the action sequences to me, and I love since Heat, some of the Robert Redford movies in the 70s, 80s, I've always loved bank heist movies. And I like to see the twist they did in this movie in the third act, where you had like 3 different components happening. You had the actual bank, you had the robbers of the bank, and then you had Jason Statham character who's playing both sides. And to me, that added another level of intrigue, suspense that I was not ready for. And then lastly is some of these movies these days, when the guy's top billing, Jason Statham, you think, okay, who's going to die off the bat, because this guy's a no-name person, whatever. But then people start dying in this movie that you don't expect to die. And I like that. I like for you to give me a little suspense where I don't like Game of Thrones in the first couple of seasons. You get a top niche actor or actress, you see them for a couple roles, all of a sudden the head gets chopped off, they get killed. To me, that I'm emotionally invested watching this movie because you know what? It's not that predictable. You don't know who's gonna live or die in this entire story. Now, as far as the actual narrative, yeah, it's pretty simple. It's a Jason Statham movie. It's like it's a vengeance story played through a different twist that we haven't seen normally. Nothing spectacular about that, but I like the way the movie kind of tied everything together from the first act to the third act. And I was really shocked that the movie was that good when the movie ended, the credits were rolling. I was talking to Eric, and I was like, yo, Chris said this movie was trash. And Eric was like, I'm not going to repeat what he said. But he was like, yeah, we need to really talk about that movie.
Well, we'll talk about it. Mike, I'm going to give you your shot. What did you think of Wrath of Man?
Yeah, I'm mostly with James on this because I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Like when we were comparing it, like I'm a fan of Statham. He's all right. Like I don't expect anything spectacular from his acting performances. I don't expect, I expect a good action movie.
Yeah, I do too. Unfortunately, I didn't find one. So
no, I thought this was good. You can,
I can actually see what Chris is saying on that.
I'm gonna drop my stuff after you. Keep going.
No, but the thing is, I'm a Guy Ritchie fan too. I like his directing style. I like his storytelling style. Like you compare him to Zack Snyder, he's way better at telling a story.
Come on, man.
And putting it together on film than like if you ever seen Snatch or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Great films.
I love those movies. Those are great movies. I love those movies.
Even his. The one he did recently, the King Arthur remake.
No, that was a terrible movie.
That wasn't good. It was fun. It wasn't good.
Yeah, it was his directing style was way better than I would say that Army of the Dead movie.
I don't know.
Even though the movie, I would say that movie was worse than Army of the Dead. But if you just
I think Army of the Dead was better than that.
Let's
King
try.
Arthur
It's just
movie.
like you connecting the freaking Bucks to freaking the Jets, man. Come on, that's not even a fair argument. Let's get back to the point of the movie and what you like and didn't like.
Yeah, so I did like the kind of twists in it as well. They weren't like I didn't realize he was looking for his sons. That one kind of caught me off guard, but the rest of it was I kind of figured he was a big wig somewhere with some kind of crime organization or at least like a lieutenant or cap, somebody highly skilled, right? I didn't realize he was at the top. So, and then I enjoyed most of the action sequences were fine for me. The rest of the cast was good for me. It was nice seeing Josh Hartnett again, and
I thought he
Donovan was in it, and Eastwood Jr. with
Scott Eastwood.
Yeah. I don't
future Wolverine in the MCU.
No, I hope not. We need someone who can act.
He's too tall. But yeah, so overall, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Better than Those Who Wish Me Dead. So.
Ooh. All right, Keith.
I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was like anything groundbreaking or whatever, but like I enjoyed it pretty much as I enjoyed all other Statham movies. Like I do see what you're saying, Chris, about like I don't know if it was a like the type of action that I expect from a Statham movie wasn't there. A lot of fisticuffs, a lot of like hand-to-hand, fast twitch action that wasn't going on. I didn't get any real Statham running.
No Statham running at all. He walked everywhere.
So it was to me it was an oddly different action movie for him because like it was more acting heavy than it was actually action heavy. But he pretty much still acted the same. I think that there were some kind of just some holes in like the plot, not necessarily holes, but like to me stuff started to get predictable. Like I knew who the bad guy was. Bad guy's team was. Like like he told it. As soon as he told that guy, like, okay, come on, get ready, let's go. And he stood there and looked at him. I was like, okay, that dude's going to be a problem. He's probably going to kill everybody and try to take the money. Like, and it ended up being just that. Like there was some very kind of like predictable things that were like super obvious. But other than that, like, that's probably like my only complaint for it. But as what I watch a Statham movie for, it pretty much gave me the like 90% of it.
Okay. Brooksy.
So I have a confession to make. I only watched the first block or whatever it was, that first portion of it.
That's all right. That's all right. You didn't miss anything.
First credit roll.
That's all right. No, the first, like, it's like the first part of it, and then it's like the second part, whatever.
The first act.
I guess. Yeah. I only got to that. But I don't know. I was interested. I'm gonna keep watching it. We just didn't make it past that. And it's a Jason Statham, so I'm not looking for like some real like acting or a plot, or, you know what I mean? Yeah, like I just want to see him shoot things and whatever. So I don't know. I'm interested, but I'm also interested in like Chris and James going at it over like this movie, the rating of this movie.
Yeah, see, but there's two Jason Statham movie types. There's the American Jason Statham movies, and then there's the Guy Ritchie version.
Exactly.
It's going to be way less action and more thinking about the plot, right? It's not about him.
All right.
So,
correct.
So this is where I am. Like I've watched a lot of Jason Statham movies, and just like Jean-Claude Van Damme before him, he has his own little scale of the quality of his movies are in their own little realm. Like it's hard to put Jason Statham movie up against a you can only put him up against like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Like action movies have their own little genre, and you scale them amongst each other, but that's not much else. I don't expect great acting. But Jason Statham, like Mike said, he's got this other type of movie that's sort of, you expect it to be an action movie, but it's a little more drama heavy. And I've watched 2 of these recently. One's called Parker and one's called Safe. And in both of these, of course, he's like a cop or an ex-military or something like that, which he is in this one. He's a mob boss. And he needs to save somebody or protect somebody or whatever. But most of it is a drama storyline bit and then a little bit of action sprinkled throughout. This is the worst of those 3 movies that I've seen. The way this was advertised to me was as a man on fire. And this was a man in water. This is the complete opposite of the man on fire. The setup of how much you're expected to believe this man just loved his kid so much and his death just wrecked his life that he was willing to drop everything. Like they gave that 2 minutes in the middle of the movie that you got to see him go to the car and then leave his kid in the car so he could go do the work, of scouting out this place. And then his kid dies. Like you don't get any emotional setup for this. If they want to make it more drama heavy and they want to make it more connected, personal, then give me that. But don't just give me 2 minutes of the kid not really talking with his father before he dies. Okay, great. All right, you want to give me an action movie, a Jason Statham, man on fire action movie? Then give me an interesting set piece. There were no interesting set pieces whatsoever. All of the bank heists were basic. Statham walks out of the back of the truck, shoots a guy in the head, turns a quarter, shoots another guy in the head. Perfect shots. Pop, 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 pop. And that's it. Like there was nothing interesting or special or no interesting use of the surroundings or the bank trucks or the weapons. No great hand-to-hand batting. None of that there. So there's no emotional stake and there's no great action bit. What am I supposed to fall back on? The Jason Statham acting? No, that's not going to work for me. I know what to expect with Jason Statham acting, which is fine. It's okay. It's within his little universe. Now, Holt McCallany? I can't pronounce his name. Yeah, the guy who played the fast-talking truck driver guy.
Bullet.
Yeah, he was great. I loved him. He was a breath of fresh air in this movie. He was always saying something interesting. It was a good foil. So I liked him. I liked Josh Hartnett. The whole Scott Eastwood thing was overly predictable.
Yeah.
So I just felt like it was missing all of the things that would make me go, yes, this is a fun and interesting movie. Right now, it's just the bottom of a Jason Statham list to me compared to a lot of other movies we've watched.
May I redirect real quick?
This movie is
hello, Mike. I like to redirect with Chris.
Go ahead.
By the way, yes, it is better than Crank. Crank was trash.
Crank was fun. Crank at least had an interesting.
Crank was fun. It was a bad movie, but it was fun, and it was way more action in it.
Let's perfect segue. So I just listened to what Chris was saying. 3 things popped in my head. Something that actually Keith mentioned last week when we talked about Army of the Dead, or 2 weeks ago. Trailer setting your expectations. We all go in, we watch these trailers, and we watch the movie, and then based on wherever the trailer set our benchmark, we react up or down. So Chris was saying how, he was expecting the type of Jason Statham movie, Man on Fire, based on whatever visuals he got from the trailer. And he didn't get that level of the Denzel movie, which this was not that movie. I agree wholeheartedly.
That's one of the best action movies
it is
out there.
But then you're putting this movie in that category, which it was never meant to be. So that's the first thing I want to mention.
But why not? Why can't it be? It's Guy Ritchie and it's Jason Statham. Both of those have produced a wonderful movie.
But it goes back to my next point here: is there's certain hypocrisy that we all do. And Chris, I'm talking to you right now. 2 weeks ago, we talked about Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Yes, I love that movie.
A movie that you're touting that gave you the
better than this movie.
Angelina Jolie's backstory about her being a firefighter and going through that loss was 2 minutes of conversation. They never revealed to you exactly why she was affected. The fact that the kid was on the lam and running and the whole conspiracy, we don't know what exactly happened with his dad.
Yes, but you feel for the kid and you feel his pain.
You don't feel for the kid. You understand?
Yes, you do.
No, you understand the kid is going through something traumatic because his dad just got killed. You don't know why his dad got killed.
It doesn't matter.
Feeling for the kid, James.
Yeah. So for me, I feel as a dad seeing my son get killed. I don't care if it's 2-minute excerpt in a scene where he was getting tacos on his phone and he watched his son get shot down. That same 2 minutes where his dad gets killed in Those Who Wish Me Dead versus this movie, Wrath of Man, there's no difference other than the fact
there is a big difference. There's an acting level difference. There's a story and a thriller setup difference. There's an emotional build-up difference.
But the acting level between Jason Statham and the kid, yes, it's different.
Amazing that the 10-year-old has a better acting level.
But the story and the plot remains the same.
It's so not though.
For me,
the way the director sets up the plot of the
setup, like for instance, you're trying to equate like the son sitting in a car with his dad as these two assassins are hunting him down and he doesn't know what's going on, with Jason Statham like coming up on a scene and watching his son get shot and just blanks off and starts running towards the and gets shot. Like it's
They gave you the lead up in this movie. They gave you the lead up where he was talking to his son about his future, what his son wanted to do. They gave you so apparently Jason Statham is with his young son who's about to go to college. They talk about him going to college and what he wants to do. They gave you that whole backstory in that moment up until he gets to the car. Then he gets the phone call. He's telling you he's not involved anymore. He's done, right? So you hear this conversation.
No, he says he's off for the day because he's with his kid.
He's not involved. He's off. He's with his kid.
Right.
Then the event happens, and he sees it about to happen, and he knows he can't do anything about that. Except
I was good. The problem is, it's like the Zack Snyder thing. You've already seen that happen. You've seen this event happen 2 or 3 times at that point. The kid gets shot, and you know it's so when they build it up to the Jason Statham seeing it, you've already seen that. It's not a surprise. It's not a hit. You're like, oh, okay, I'm connecting dots. So it's more of an understanding scene than an emotional impact scene at that point.
So when Those Who Wish Me Dead, when the young boy sees his dad gets killed and he evacuates that car, to me, emotionally, I'm connected with the kid because I realize now he's got to figure out what he's going to do with himself.
Except
I don't know why his father gets killed.
Except the way they built
what do you mean? You don't wait. Were you not watching the movie?
Keith, do you know why his dad got killed? Do you know why?
The way they
Tell me right now. Hold on. Keith, answer the question.
He was a forensic accountant. He was a forensic accountant, and he found some stuff on the books while he was doing his job.
Yeah, but that is not correct. That is incorrect. You are inferring that. No, go back and check the story of this. That's not true. They don't tell you exactly why.
Yes, he says that to his son.
Hang on.
He says those words to his son, James. You didn't watch the movie.
I was in a car.
The father says, I have this information that will bust somebody, but we never know who.
But it doesn't matter.
We knew he was a forensic. We knew he was a forensic accountant. He said that.
But we never learn who's after him.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because in this movie, it matters because the Rapper Man Rat the Man,
we knew why those people were after him.
But because in Rat the Man, they tell you,
you didn't watch the movie.
And I did watch the movie. And Rat the Man, they tell you exactly why his son was killed.
No. Okay. What you're saying is they didn't tell you enough. Is that what you're saying? Because to me, they told me enough.
No,
they told me enough to understand.
The reason why I'm bringing this point is because the hypocrisy of Chris saying, and this movie with Jason Statham, we don't connect with him and his son because we don't know why. It's a 2-minute scene of him and his son.
No. It's not a why. It's not a why. His kid gets caught up in a robbery. It doesn't matter why.
But you said there was a 2-minute. You said it was a 2-minute.
It's only a 5-minute thing. You get no emotional investment in the relationship.
So
exactly.
I'm connecting that scene.
You're looking at those two very different scenes. You're trying to look at them in the same way. Like, the relationship with the son and the father was very important to those who wish me dead. Like that was part of what is building up your emotional, what you call it, for the boy. In this particular movie, the boy was just a trigger for us to know why the dad was so mad. That's it. There was no we didn't need any understanding of any relationship there.
My point.
That was his son. Then I understand why Jason Tatum is about to kick all of your asses.
And that's my point of this movie is the fact that event occurs to me. To me, is traumatic for the character that Jason Statham is playing, who sees his son gets killed and decides, you know what, I'm going to figure out who's behind this murder. To the point where he uses resources, it doesn't work. So and then his henchman tells him, dude, it's an inside job. You need to go in and see what happens. And then he pivots. A character like that pivots to the point where now he's the inside guy. To me, it's a new version of this heist story that we've seen so many times before.
So which is fine. I just have a problem with you're trying to equate those two movies in terms of those scenes. Like this movie would have been totally different if it was flipped and it was about them having killed his father and him watching during the bank heist and him trying to figure it out. It's not the same movie. The trauma was there because the little boy was sitting in the car. His father explained to him exactly, like, there are guys after me. And even as he's explaining it, I understand why he's explaining it in the way he's doing, because it's a 10-year-old boy. So he's not telling him like, oh, like these guys are going to be trained mercenaries who are what you call, but like, okay, I found some things. I'm what you call a forensic accountant, and I found some things that I wasn't supposed to find, or some bad guys didn't want me to find. From that moment right there, I know why he was trying to get killed.
So that's perfect segue. Hold on, real quick, Mike, real quick. Yeah. Perfect segue. So you're saying that the foundation, you and Chris are saying the foundation of the boy.
I knew why he was about to get killed from the time he stood and watched the joint on the news and how he reacted to that. I knew right then and there that he was next up.
Right, because they already had assassins blow up a house. Then you shift over to the kid and his dad. The dad sees the house explosion you just watched happen.
Picks up the kid.
He reacts. Then the kid reacts. Then they run. Then you're already on a thriller, like tension-filled. Holy shit! I gotta get out of here.
Then he explains to the kid why it is that he's getting followed, or what they should be, what he's concerned about at the moment. He tells them.
Yeah, they stack the pressure over a period of time until the point where the kid watches the event happen. Bam! Now you're on the run. Like that's a whole setup. Whereas
what surprised us is where they got the jump on it. That's it.
Go ahead, Mike.
So we're comparing these two movies. On the one hand, you have to remember that. So if we're comparing a lack of backstory to the emotional connection, there's a couple things I want to note. That the kid in Those Who Wish Me Dead, his acting was a lot better. I connected with him, his acting level a lot better.
Agreed.
Number two, throughout the movie, the kid conveys the emotions of still being upset and still being afraid and so on and so forth. Whereas Statham, we know he's upset about his son, but he doesn't really show it throughout the film.
Because he can't.
Right. And
yeah, but he never like sneaks away into like a side room and freaks out and says, I'm not getting anything done. The best part of the movie,
but that would be antithetical to the character. Like if he's a mob boss, if they showed me a cutaway scene where he's crying about his son, that would be totally.
He doesn't have to cry. There are other emotional.
Mike,
he's a crime boss.
Mike,
hundreds of people.
Mike, I want to add on to your point, Mike. Finish that.
So what Chris was saying about the pressure being on the kid as well. See, that's the difference. In that movie, the world is pressuring the kid and he's trying to survive. It's like the opposite in this movie, where Statham is putting the pressure on everyone else.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
So you're not going to connect with him like you would with that kid. So
correct. So just to piggyback on what Mike and what Chris and Keith are saying. This movie, let's focus on this movie for a second. I only brought up the first movie because I didn't like when Chris was mentioning the fact that there's a small segments of this movie that it makes sense, which is to me the exact replica of the last movie we talked about. But this movie, right? This movie we talked about, Wrath of Man. The story and narrative, how the characters develop through this story, to me was miles ahead of Those Who Wish Me Dead, only because I felt and I understood every character's role in this movie, in Wrath of Man, from the FBI agent who was like, I need him to clean up the crime here. I'm gonna let him do what he's gonna do. From the henchmen that were originally part of Jason Statham's Kingpin group, realizing, yo, this dude's going crazy. We can't stop this guy. We gotta talk to him and to give him a better option. To Josh Hart and the bank heist crew. Those guys who were doing their own mission because they were PTSD soldiers. To me, that gave me so much more flavor and spice to this movie than I got from Those Who Wish Me Dead. And Chris, you were touting how great Those Who Wish Me Dead was, and I took your word for it. And then I looked at this movie, and I'm like, dude, there's so much more to eat and chew in this movie as a Jason Statham movie, not Denzel Washington movie, Jason Statham movie compared to Angelina Jolie nailing in her role for this movie, and a bunch of a Bebop and Rocksteady henchmen that are supposed to be trying to catch the little boy. That's why I felt like, wait a minute, time out. We're not doing. And then to circle back to Keith's point, sometimes the trailers really do fuck us over. We watch the trailers, we set a benchmark, we watch the movie, and then we take a dump on it, or we applaud it even further. And I think in this situation, we didn't give you, particularly Chris, by saying Keith, because Keith was, he said it's neutral on it. You gave this movie a bad review because the trailer set the benchmark. It didn't meet that benchmark because you've seen these other movies. Whereas last week, 2 weeks ago, we watched Those Who Wish Me Dead. I had a blank slate going in watching this movie, and I felt like the movie didn't live up to what it could have been, based on the actors that are there and the plot that introduced me with. The first part of the movie is the best part of that movie.
See, I feel the same way about Wrath of Man, is the actors that you have set up in this and the plot possibilities and the director all set me up to make a great movie. And it was a disappointment to that. And the side characters were the best part of the movie. Like that's...
Of this movie.
Okay, yes, of Wrath of Man. Like, the best part of the movie was when Jason Statham wasn't there and his henchmen were going around basically ripping people out of their homes and torturing them.
I actually agree with that, yes.
That was the best part of the movie. And it had nothing to do with the main character.
Movie. That was opposite of Those Who Wish Me Dead. The best part of that movie was just the kid.
But the kid was the main. But at least he was the main driver.
He was the main part of the movie.
The kid was the central thesis of the movie.
But hold on, that kid could not carry the entire movie to the point where
he did. He did.
No, because Angelina Jolie was the main character.
No, she wasn't. The kid was definitely the main character.
Angelina Jolie was the main character to you because you know her as the biggest name. If you look at the movie, she wasn't the biggest character.
The kid was definitely
it was top billing.
It was the kid.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, dude, you fell for the marketing, bro. Look at the movie.
And her role was to save the kid. It wasn't a side character to the kid.
To save him, the kid. That doesn't mean that's the main person.
But Darth was not the main character in that movie. You're telling me the kid was the main character?
Yes, he was.
In the movie.
The story did not revolve around
the kid was the main person in the movie, bro.
Yeah,
the story was
story
by
did not.
Angelina Jolie.
The movie was about the kid.
redeeming herself to save that kid.
It did not.
It
It
did,
but it did not revolve around her.
The story wasn't about the kid.
It was.
She was the driving force of the plot.
Was.
Angelina Jolie was the main character of that movie.
No, the kid was the driving force of that entire plot.
He was the main
plot, but he wasn't the protagonist. He wasn't the protagonist. The kid was not the protagonist.
Okay.
I watched it. He was not the protagonist. There's no way to argue that.
She was the protagonist?
She was.
Okay,
Angelina Jolie was the
we're
protagonist.
arguing about a movie we reviewed 2 weeks ago. Like, if you guys want to do a quick peek on this subject,
we did quick peeks. No, we did quick peeks.
But we need to
get
go
back to
the Man.
Rat the Man.
That was exciting.
No, because Rat the Man.
Time out. Let's go to grades, please.
Wait, we didn't conclude it.
Let's finish up. Let's finish Rat the Man. Let's give our grades, and then we'll move on to our Cruella. Right?
Thank you, Mike.
Oh, Cruella. Oh, my God.
Oh my God.
This is not going to get any better. Okay, I'm going to let James go first.
Eric, go look tonight, Eric. I give this a B+.
Okay.
And after all of that, you still gave it a...
Yeah.
All right, Mike, what's your grade?
It's a B for me. It's definitely not an A+ movie. It's not at the top of Guy Ritchie's movies, like, for sure. It's somewhere in the middle.
Yes, in the middle, not at the bottom, like Chris said.
You gave it that high.
All right, Keith, what's your grade?
I want to give it like a B-.
Wow, we were all in the same ballpark, yet we were yelling at each other about this shit.
I'm giving it a C-.
No, I was just yelling at your stupid comparison. Like,
that's right.
Dumb. You could have did better than that.
I'm going with C-, and I'm going to suggest everybody go watch a different Jason Statham movie.
No, everybody watch this movie and leave a comment. Leave a comment. I expect to see 20 comments on this particular one.
Yeah, let us know.
No one's quiet. No one's going to be quiet.
Tell James that he's wrong about the main character. You wish me dead.
I really don't understand how James watched that whole movie and does not understand that the kid was the main character.
When we get back, we are going to talk Cruella.
All right. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here to talk about Cruella, the 2021 Disney release, starring Emma Thompson and Emma Stone in the prequel story of the young Cruella de Vil to the 101 Dalmatians character.
Cruella Year One.
Cruella Year One.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Knock that shit off.
Now, this was an interesting movie. This was probably one of those, speaking of expectations, as we talked about last time, this was kind of at the bottom of my expectations list. I did not expect anything positive out of this. The only movie I've ever fallen asleep in the theater to was 102 Dalmatians, the live action movie. And I don't even remember who was playing Cruella de Vil. It didn't really matter. I fell asleep in the theater. That never happens. So my history with this 100 Dalmatians, not really my favorite Disney movie, even as a huge fan of Disney animation. So I really interesting to hear what you guys felt about this movie, especially where you thought it might go and where it went. Also, spoilers for Cruella. We're not going to pretend otherwise. I'm going to start with the queen of the pod, Roxy. What did you think of Cruella?
All right. Well, as we were talking about a little bit on break, as an independent movie, I think I actually enjoyed it. As a prequel, it didn't do anything for me in the prequel setup for whatever reason. But yeah, independently, I enjoyed the movie. I thought that, which one is the older lady? Emma Thompson?
Emma Thompson.
Yeah. I liked her in that character. I feel like she does that character very well. I liked her in that character.
The eviler than evil person character?
Yeah. Yeah. I think she's really good at it. The younger one, Emma Stone. Right? Stone. She kind of annoyed me sometimes, but maybe that was what was supposed to happen. But sometimes I just was like, I don't know. I wasn't all in on her character. But I will say in the beginning, like the setup story really kind of got me in my feelings a little bit. And so that was unexpected. And, you know, any movie where someone like adopts a dog and that's their best friend, of course, I'm going to love that. So
how would you compare this to Those Who Wish Me Dead? No, just kidding. Just keep going.
Wish that movie was dead.
Hilarious. And I thought the plot was interesting. That's what kind of kept me going. I found the plot to be actually kind of interesting, and like maybe I just don't know that much about Cruella de Vil in general, and that's like everybody already knew this is what was going to happen, but I found it like really interesting and a little bit more sinister than your average Disney movie.
Yeah, that's right. Mike, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, so disclosure, going into this, I have never seen 101 Dalmatians. Like, I know what the story is, I know what it's about, but I never actually watched the Disney 101 Dalmatians. So, but I know the character, right? So that's all you really need to know going.
Cruella de Vil.
He's the bad guy that wants to make a coat out of dogs for some reason, and
money.
So, what?
Money.
The original Montgomery Burns.
Yeah. So if you put that aside, like Brooksy was saying, all the prequel stuff, it was a pretty decent movie. Acting was great. Emma Thompson, Emma Stone did a good job, I thought. I like the side characters as well, like her buddies were cool.
Jasper and Horace.
Yeah, I thought they were all right. And then there was Emma Thompson's butler, right? Who was
her security? I think he was just
something like that. Yeah, who was the one?
Mark Strong.
Mark Strong.
Yeah.
Like the whole fashion thing was pretty cool. Like some of her outfits were all right.
Production design wise, they went nuts.
Yeah, Disney spent
production design was great. I forgot about that. Also, sorry, Mike, I know it's your turn. Also, the soundtrack I thought was great.
You're stealing my points, man. Mark Strong soundtrack. Look at this. Mark Strong soundtrack.
Yeah, so overall, I thought it was a decent watch. I'm not like some of it didn't make sense to if I do want to tie it into a prequel to 101, like some of it doesn't make sense as a prequel, but it is what it is. I just just watch the movie and enjoy it, I guess, right?
Right.
Like I'm not gonna go. It's like some people will, like I've seen articles. I think Chris, you sent one, or James sent one where the guy was breaking down like everything wrong with the movie, like why
that was me. Yeah,
why this was a bad prequel. Yeah, and I'm not gonna. They took an animated movie and made a live action prequel. So I'm not gonna. It's it's not like rocket science for me. Like I'm not gonna go into a whole philosophical thing on why it doesn't work, right? But
yeah, we'll save that for The Hobbit.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, dude.
All right.
Tough crowd.
Wow, I didn't know you guys were the Hobbit fans.
At least the first movie.
Feelings.
Okay. I'll send it to you, James.
I mean, I could go to Classic James and just shit over this movie, but you know what?
Classic.
Do it.
Watched, the beginning of it yesterday. I didn't finish it, but I get the gist about the ending of this. I went to cheat code mode. Some pros and cons real quick. Pros, you guys stole it from me. Mark Strong's character, who played the butler. I love this dude. He's reached that pantheon of that guy you see in movies, but you don't see him as an A-list actor. He played the bad guy in Kick-Ass. He was in Shazam as a villain. Like, he does these roles where he's very believable in it. He's got that serious, stern look about him. And for this role, it was different. Like, he was basically a good guy. Spoiler alert, whatever. Bad guy turned good guy. So I was interested in watching him in this movie. The soundtrack, to Brooks' point, to me, that's my favorite part of this movie so far is the soundtrack. They're hitting out the park. I'm really enjoying it. And I hated to say that. I was going to say that online. I'm like, man, this is not as bad as I thought. The soundtrack is awesome. Negatives, Emma Stone.
What?
I don't like. She, to me, was like Anne Hathaway in The Devil Wears Prada, but much more low budget. Like I don't.
Yeah,
like
I got that Devil Wears Prada vibe too.
Like everything about her, she's trying to pretend that she's Cruella in the cartoon at the age 50, but clearly her character and the actress is not that old. But to me, it kept taking me out of the movie. And then these goddamn Dalmatians. The only thing you guys didn't mention is, the Dalmatians to me now with like sinister wolf teeth and all this stuff. To me, like I'm shocked that Disney is taking that angle where the lovable 101 Dalmatians, 102 Dalmatians, they're portraying in this movie as like these killing, freaking dire wolves. And that's that to me is just kind of scary. So I'm actually at a neutral place right now watching this movie before I get to
that was a shitty reason for me. That was a shitty reason for her to go into 101 Dalmatians, right?
It's very shitty.
Yeah, but like I said, you throw away the prequel and then you're fine.
Yeah.
So.
Which I did. Yeah. Which I did. I did that too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is that where you want to land?
That's where I want to land.
Okay. All right. Keith, give me your synopsis of your feelings on Cruella.
I kind of agree with James on the Emma Thompson, on the Emma the Emma take. I felt her part was a little bit wanting. I dug the direction she was going, but like, I don't know. I feel like they could have gotten an English actress for
that
would have been like a little over the top.
I think it was supposed to be over the top.
It was supposed to be over the top in a very fashion-y kind of way. She just wasn't doing it for me, but I dig what they were trying to do. I just wish there was someone else doing it. Like, and she wasn't fooling me. Like, she wasn't English enough.
Her accent was going in and out.
Yeah, like I really wish they would have gotten like a for real English actress, like somebody kooky or whatever. Like
the girl from what's that show we were just watching? We talked about last week from that sci-fi show, Victorian Scottish lady, True from
the Nevers.
The Nevers.
Oh yeah. Actually, there's a number of women I could have picked from that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think that there's actually like 2 or 3 women I think like would have done a better job in that spot. But yeah, like so but that aside, I like the spin that they made on whatever they thought a prequel could be to what made the 101 Dalmatians Cruella.
Mm-hmm.
I dig that backstory, and it's but I just like there was a bunch of holes, or at least like things that I didn't think like fit. She definitely, like, I would have thought that I killed my mom too. Like, the dogs are chasing me. They jump over me and they head to my mom and they and they push her off the joint. Like, I'm probably traumatized for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that trauma didn't rest long with her, like, or at all, more than her mentioning it or her visiting that water fountain.
That water fountain, yeah.
Whatever. But like, I feel like earlier on, like even right after that scene, like even though she mentioned it, like it didn't look like it physically affected her, like her ability to like cognitively take action.
Yeah,
and I think if that's a child watching their mother get killed and they think they did it. I don't know. I just thought that there would have been. It just didn't seem to be very silly to say realistic, but it just didn't seem very organic, that particular portion. And then like, okay, let's just jump 10 years with this crew, this brigand, these brigands.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, oh, they've just been doing things for 10 years. Like, I get it. Okay, like advance the story a little bit, but like her relationship with them and what they did, like I feel like there should have been maybe a little bit more dived into there, like, but or at least I would have liked to see that to generate more story around their little thing. But in general, I liked the movie. I thought it was cute. Like it was a cute, like kind of edgy, family friendly, fun joint.
All right. So a couple of things surprised me. Number one, I didn't expect the full on Lion King parent murder right up front.
Yeah.
Like watching her fall the cliff, like that whole thing. They actually pull the camera around so you can watch her. You're like, nope, no pretending. She fell off a cliff, everybody. Like there wasn't any question. But also this like required kid origin story that we're seeing a lot of places. Like DC does this for superhero movies all the time. Like you got to watch Batman, you got to watch Wonder Woman, you got to watch Aquaman, you got to see them all as little kids get bullied or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Now I get this one. You're supposed to say that she always had a side of her that she was trying to hide, and Emma Stone trying to almost play two competing characters. And we've seen that in other movies where an actress has to try to play kind of a more state front-facing character and then a secondary character. We get that a lot of Batman movies, obviously. But it's like that's a hard position for an actor, I think. It's a really difficult role to play. And I think she did a good job personally. I think the more they let the character be wild, the better it was. Like the whole section where she's just they're trying to bring down Emma Thompson's empire by just doing weird stuff when she comes in the garbage truck and then she drives away with the giant dress made of what started out you thought maybe was garbage, but it was
that was hard. I can't even front. That was a dope scene.
Like
that was a dope one.
And the soundtrack, they had the soundtrack hitting at those times.
Yeah.
When she comes in the bike and she does the smoke circles, and then the biggest like fuck you I saw was when she had them strap her into the car and then she walks up on the car.
That was cool.
Then covers her with her dress.
Not the way though. But it was ingenious because it didn't even cover fully.
Yeah,
it left enough space for her to peek out. Like, so you saw her peeking out.
Dude, she went hard on her. And that whole section was just like some of the most fun movie watching. And that's only works because Emma Thompson nails this like evil above evil role. The idea when she goes, "You killed my mother," and Emma Thompson just turns to her and goes, "You're gonna have to be more specific."
More specific, yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit, that is hard."
That scene did blow me away a little. Like that line did blow me away a little bit. Like, oh, excuse me.
And then when she finds out, and then at the end when she finds out she's her mother, and she goes, "That's why I like you." Like her role really. And like I said, I really liked what Emma Thompson was doing, but up against, Emma Stone was doing, up against Emma Thompson was like this wall of perfection in her character that everybody else was bouncing off of. And I think
I was shocked because Emma Thompson is a great actress in her own right. So I don't know, like
she was fine.
Emma Thompson was awesome. She was
awesome.
great.
I meant to say Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Emma Stone was great. I actually enjoyed.
But this movie, something about this movie, she just didn't.
I think there are bits, like Keith said, story wise, where Disney wants to kind of. Sure, they're going to show the mother dying, and yes, they're going to show the dogs being mean, but there are certain things they're trying not to hit. And number one is they're not going to let her kill the dogs. At no time are they going to let her actually kill the dogs. They're going to come up with an excuse. In the end, she owns the dogs. She's given dogs away. They're going to come up with an excuse for that character in 101 Dalmatians. But they made her crazy, but they didn't make her murderous. You notice that?
Like, sympathize with her.
To me, it was almost like they wrote a movie about a woman who wanted to be in fashion and blah, blah, blah. And then Disney looked at it and said, oh, let's make this about Cruella.
So you know what I remind me of? Mike, the Joker. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Yeah. So like, let's take that version.
That's been a lot of comparisons to that. This is definitely fun version, whereas that one's a very like harder,
not so fun,
fun version.
But you take a character that's well known in a particular franchise, and then you do like a little bit of a pivot on that character, and then you try to sell it to the audience, and it's like, okay, so now you have to understand why he became so crazy without the fact that he's, you know, full out chaotic crazy.
Yeah. For all the people who said, I can't believe they're trying to make a movie that makes you feel for the villain, I want you all to stop and go watch episode 1 through 3 of Star Wars. Right? Because you obviously have never seen it.
Yeah, but that was before Disney owned them.
Right. And then I want you to go back further and read some 90s X-Men comics.
Yes.
And then I want you to go back further and I want you to just watch some anime. Like this shit.
It's been going on for a minute.
Chris is always trying to get us to watch anime. Somehow you're always like slipping it in somehow.
Well, listen, I'm with him on this one. Whoa, I'm not with him on that one.
Whoa, I don't know what he's slipping where.
I'm not with him on that one. I'm with him on the anime you should watch.
I'll
stop there.
Every episode calling it nowadays.
I'm watching Attack on Titan, and that is the most like depressing show. Depressing. But it says, hey, you know that enemy you thought was just this epitome of evil? Well, they've got a backstory, and you should know what's going on. Yes, they're doing bad things.
That's all
but
anime.
There's more to this person than than their current evil, sinister thing, and it's not. It happens all the time.
It's a winning formula. This movie, to me, I was shitting on it in the beginning, the first 30 minutes of it. I was like, oh, this is... and then as it was started picking up, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then, you know, it did its job. It got me to start rethinking certain things. And, you know, hats off. You know, it did its job. It got me to feel like, all right, this is not a terrible movie. You know, I'm not saying it's a great movie, but, you know, entertaining at the moment.
And I want to give I just want to give a specific shout out to the actors who played Jasper and Horace and those characters specifically. Mm-hmm. So Joel Fry and Paul Hauser.
Yeah. Where have you seen them before? Where have you seen them?
I don't know, but Joel Fry, making his character kind of an emotional springboard for the Cruella character, where he's like, wow, you're treating us crappy. Why don't you
look familiar?
I've seen him in the black guy. Which one? I forget his name. Mm-hmm. But I've seen him in other TV shows, like English facing, and I think there was one kind of, I think it was fantasy sci-fi ish, maybe with a little. There was like, it was set in like, of course, 1500s kind of England. And there was an Asian, like there's like these little, these kids. And the leader of them was like an Asian, like a little Asian girl.
I'm looking at his acting credits.
He was in Game of Thrones for a while.
And he was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He was in 10,000 BC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see. I'm looking at the same credits.
He was in 10,000 BC. Oh.
Now the other guy, Paul Hauser, he's been in a lot of stuff too. He was in Black Klansman. He was the star of Richard Jewell, that movie about the Atlanta Olympics bombing. Remember?
He has great.
Oh yeah, he was the bomber.
Oh, he was also in Game of Thrones, by the way.
They said that.
Oh my bad. No, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part because I was looking at his movie. I was looking at his movie list.
They're the most likable henchmen I've seen in a movie in a long time.
They're better than henchmen and those who wish me dead.
Oh right. Paul Hauser's in Cobra Kai. He's the security guard in the school.
Oh shit!
Remember?
Nice.
Oh yeah, he's also in Drunk History. A lot, like last 3
All right,
seasons.
I'm going to ask for grades first. We're going to go around and do grades. Mike, what is your grade for Cruella?
This one's a B- for me.
Mm-hmm. All right, James.
Incomplete, but so far I'll give it a B- as well.
Okay, Keith.
I'm gonna give it a solid B.
Mm-hmm. Brooksy.
I'm gonna go B-.
Okay. I'm gonna go B+. I really like it.
B+, nice.
All right. So before we finish this off, I'm actually gonna ask you guys what your favorite song on the soundtrack was.
Oh, I gotta look at this.
I'm looking at it right now.
Just listening too.
Easy.
Oh, my favorite one specifically
was it Jimi Hendrix one?
Was the Tina Turner cover of "Come Together," the Beatles or Aerosmith song.
What song was she singing when she came out like a rock goddess?
Oh shit! Yeah,
that's my favorite song. Whatever that.
Where was. They did. What's his name? I forget the name of the character, but he had the Ziggy Stardust look.
Yeah, that's the store.
That fashion dude. Yeah, you're talking
about. Was it? It wasn't Stone Cold Crazy by Queen.
No, I don't think it was a Queen song. I don't think it was a Queen song.
Oh man, she was singing it too. Bloody well, right? 5-1, fire.
No, she wasn't singing it. Someone else was singing it. She just came out at the end.
Come Together was Ike and Tina Turner.
And she came out, but there was somebody else singing it.
Hold on, I don't know if Keith said this. But Come Together, Ike and Tina Turner, that one?
Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's your favorite.
That wasn't the one that she was singing. Oh, it was something about a dog. It was.
I want to be a dog.
I want to be a dog. I want to be a dog. Yeah.
By John McCrae.
But I don't see that one called that on.
It's in a soundtrack, but I don't know if it's in the movie. Because sometimes the songs in the soundtrack don't actually make it.
Right. Yeah. That was particularly hard for the singing.
Yeah. I'm trying to look it up quick, but
good question though, because that's all I really like the soundtrack of this movie.
That whole scene was also really cool.
Every one of my favorite parts of this movie was probably all of those scenes where she kind of showed up, the Duchess or whatever her name was.
The Baroness.
Hmm?
Wasn't it the Baroness?
The Baroness, yeah, I'm sorry. Like all those scenes where she showed her up, like those are my favorite scenes. That garbage truck joint was phenomenal. It literally dumped her out on the street, and I thought that was like, oh, like they dumped garbage in front of the joint, like, oh, burn.
So this looks like a Iggy Pop song. I want to be your dog.
That sounds familiar. That sounds like it. That's it.
So, but I've got a couple of responses here. It's weird. One says Main Skin. One says Iggy Pop. So I'm gonna have to look it up. Yeah, I think it's an Iggy Pop. It sounds like an Iggy Pop song.
It sounds Iggy Pop-ish.
Yeah, but no, that was a great scene. I tell you, the twist.
I know my song. Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm jumping ahead.
No, it's I had to make sure I knew exactly because I knew it was Nina Simone. I don't know the name of it.
Oh, I love that
song from the commercial.
Yeah.
Like, that song is like in like.
Dude,
what commercial is it?
Sucker of Nina Simone. It's every commercial. Cologne.
It's a great song. It's one of the.
Yeah, they use it so many times.
As soon as I heard it in the joint, I was like, I thought a commercial was on. Like, I was like, wait, hold on. Oh.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out the name because I had like all the different names in my head, but I knew it was her. That's my favorite.
Okay. Brooksy, do you have a favorite song on the soundtrack?
I'm trying to look quickly.
Car Wash. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I found a link that has like every single song, and then it shows the moment that the song came on.
Oh, for real? That's what we needed.
Yeah, I know. So I'm trying to look.
Man, they packed songs into this. Like every time you turned around, there was a new.
And I liked it. It kept me watching the dull moments of this movie.
Yeah, so I can't pick a specific song, but I agree with James. It actually kept me watching the movie. Which I thought the movie was decent anyways, but I would have watched it. But the soundtrack really like kept my interest.
Mike, did you find one that you particularly enjoyed?
Not really. Overall, though, I did enjoy the soundtrack for the whole movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely a killer soundtrack.
Yeah.
I have to say, I almost forgot about this part, and that's where you find out that she had sewn like bug.
Oh yeah,
the cicadas or whatever they were.
The larva
onto the dress.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit! That's next level.
Yeah.
Yes. Special shout out to the production design of this. It was great.
Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
Oscars. Yeah, the Oscar time, they'll get nominated.
For
Disney owned the Oscars anyway. Oh, said that out. My bad. I said that the quiet part out loud.
All right. Well, that's it for us tonight. We ran a little late tonight.
Sorry.
But I hope you all enjoyed the podcast. Mike, where can they find us? Where can they
we are at all the social medias at Heroes Peak. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share our videos. Let people know.
Take sides in our arguments.
Leave a comment.
Yes, leave comments. Stop being on the sidelines. Yes. Or buy merch. Or buy merch. Soon to be released merch.
I don't want Perrier sponsorship. How about hey, Four Loco, call me.
Four Loco.
Four Loco. What year are we in?
I'm gonna go get some Swisher Sweets and some Four Loco.
Swisher Sweets. Oh.
Some Zima for later tonight.
There you go.
Do they still make Zima?
They do.
I think they re-released it.
They do. Some parts of the country you drive through at 7-Eleven, you'll see.
What is dead may never die.
Yeah. Wow. All right, guys. You have a fantastic night. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
Night.
Go Nets.
Fuck the Nets.